The lecture hall buzzed with uneasy murmurs as Professor John placed a thick stack of papers on his desk. His sharp gaze swept the room instantly, silencing the whispered, surprise test. He announced, voice deep and steady, "You have 40 minutes, begin." Erupted across the room. Some students exchanged panicked glances, others already slumped forward as if defeat had claimed them before they even touched a pen. You didn't flinch. Pulling your pen from your pencil case, you turned the first page and immediately began writing. Years of relentless study, sleepless nights, and meticulous note-taking had prepared you for moments like this. Every question was a puzzle, and you solved them one by one with methodical precision. From his position at the front of the class, John took watch. He had built a reputation as the department's most unshakable professor. No favoritism, no unnecessary praise, no bending of rules. But today, his dark eyes lingered on you longer than he would ever admit. Your brow furrowed slightly as you worked, lips pressing together in thought before your pen moved again in steady, confident strokes. All around you, the air was thick with quiet pen tapping nervously, pages turning hesitantly. But you sat in calm concentration, shoulders straight, composure unshaken. It made something unfamiliar stir in him. Pride, yes, but more than that, a reluctant admiration that he could not quite name. When the clock hit the final minute, he called, "Pens down." Students again, some muttering that they'd fail before even handing in their papers. But when you walked to the front and placed yours neatly on his desk, you met his eyes just for a moment, and in that brief second, something unspoken passed between you. A flicker of awareness neither of you dared to acknowledge. The surprise test had drained the entire lecture hall except you, while most of your classmates trudged out with and blank stares. You'd quietly pack your things, satisfied with your answers. The moment you stepped into the cafe across campus, the smell of espresso hit you like a small reward for surviving the morning. Mira was already there, perched in the corner booth with her iced latte and a sly grin. "Top scorer face," she said, pointing at you as you slid into the seat opposite her. "Don't even try to hide it." You laughed, shaking your head. "It was just a test. Everyone will be fine." "Everyone except me," she groaned dramatically as her brain left halfway through the second question, "which is exactly why we need to celebrate." "Celebrate, Mira. Finals are in a week, which is why," she cut in, leaning forward. "We need one night, just one. Tonight, club, loud music." Zero thoughts. You stared at her. "You know I'm not a party person." "That's exactly why I'm making you come. You, Miss Future Surgeon, need to breathe before you lock yourself in the library for the next 6 months. I have researched too." "Nope," she shook her head so hard her ponytail whipped. "We are going. I'm not asking, I'm informing you. My mood is stretched after that test, and you are my emotional support human." You sick, knowing resistance was pointless when Mira got like this. "Fine, but I'm not dressing up. Jeans and a sweater." Her grin turned big. "We'll see about that." Hours later, she was in your room, standing over you with her hands on her hips as you emerged from your closet in a loose black dress that fell on your knees. "Cute," she said slowly, "if we were going to a funeral." "Mira." "Nope." She reached into her tote bag like a magician, revealing her final trick, and pulled out a slinky, form-fitting dress in deep crimson. The neckline dipped dangerously low. The hemline was more suggestion than fabric. You blinked. "I can't wear that." "You can, and you will. I brought heels too." Within minutes, you were standing in front of your mirror, your hair curled, a faint sheen of gloss on your lips. The dress clinging to you in ways that made your skin feel suddenly too warm. Mira stood behind you, arms crossed, satisfied. "Perfect. Tonight you are not the top student in medical sciences. You are just fine." You gave her a flat look. "If I trip in these heels, you are catching me." She smirked. "I'll be too busy introducing you to trouble." The bass thumped through the pavement before you even reached the club entrance. The line of neon spilling onto the street. Mira's arm was looked through yours like she feared you might run, which honestly wasn't far from the truth. Inside, it was a sensory overload, lights strobed in shades of violet and gold, the air heavy with perfume, sweat, and the sharp tang of alcohol. Bodies moved in fluid chaos across the dance floor. See, this is therapy, Mira shouted over the music, already scanning the crowd like a hawk in search of her prey. You gave her a look. You call this therapy, I call it noise. She laughed, gave your hand a squeeze, and then, predictably, got distracted by someone waving at her from across the room. Back in a second, don't move, which of course you immediately ignored. You found yourself wandering toward the bar, more out of self-preservation than curiosity. You didn't drink, not really, but standing still in the middle of the crowd felt like putting a target on your back for unwanted attention. The bartender glanced your way. What can I get you? Just water, please, you said, trying to keep your voice steady over the music. It was then, in the split second, you turned to look at the crowd. Then your eyes landed on him, John Johnson, only not the man you know. Gone was the neatly pressed shirt, the restrained posture, the sharp glances that framed his every lecture. Instead, he stood at the far end of the bar in a fitted black button-down, rolled at the sleeves, the top two buttons undone to reveal the faint edge of ink curling along his collarbone. His hair was slightly tousled, a softer, messier look that made him look younger and infinitely more dangerous. He was laughing at something one of his friends said, a drink in his hand, the corner of his mouth curved, and then he noticed you. The laughter stalled, his gaze locking on yours, crossed the distance. For a moment the noise of the club seemed to fall away, leaving just the two of you in that strange, suspended second. You quickly looked away, focusing on the concentration dripping down your glass of water, pretending not to feel the weight of his attention still fixed on you. You weren't sure if you should pretend not to see him or force yourself to walk over, but before you could decide it, Jungkook was already moving toward you, a slow, purposeful stride that somehow managed to look both casual and commanding in the haze of club lights. Miss Wine, he greeted, voice steady despite the noise, his lip curling into the faintest suggestion of a smirk. Professor John, you returned, the title tasting strange here, under the pulsing bass instead of fluorescent lecture hall lights. He let his gaze flick briefly over your dress before meeting your eyes again. Didn't expect to see you here. You look different. Your pulse tripped over itself. Different bad or different good. His smirk deepened just enough to be dangerous. Good, very good. You feel heat rush to your cheeks, suddenly hyper aware of every inch of bare skin the dress revealed. The moment might have stretched longer if one of his friends hadn't called out his name from across the room. Excuse me, he said, giving you one last look, as if committing the sight of you to memory, before his friend tugged him toward a group near the VIP section. You exhaled slowly, gripping your water like a lifeline. That was when Mira appeared at your sides, eyes alight. Was that Professor John? Oh my god, Wyan, he's hot. Outside the classroom. You roll your eyes, Mira. No, seriously, I thought he was attractive before, but this is illegal levels. She gave you a teasing nudge. You blushed. I did not. You did. Her grin widened. You like him. I don't. Mira, stop. She ignored you entirely, flagging down the bartender. 2 shots, please. Your stomach dropped. No, I don't drink. You didn't drink tonight. You are drinking. Graduation's coming. Finals are killing us, and we are celebrating. Come on, just one. One turned into two, two blurred into four. You discovered quite quickly that your tolerance was embarrassingly low. Warmth spread through your limbs, the bass vibrating in your chest, the edges of the world softening until your laughter came easily. Mira was halfway through a story when her phone buzzed. Her eyes lit up. It's him, my boyfriend, his ear. Before you could protest, she was already slipping into the crowd, leaving you swaying lightly on your stool, drink still in hand. You were tracing the rim of your glass absent-mindedly, when a familiar voice cut through the hills. Miss Ryan. You looked up and there he was again. Jungkook stood over you, his dark shirt unbuttoned at the collar now, hair slightly tousled from the crowd. You are still here, you said, wincing at how tipsy you sounded. His brow arched, eyes flicking to the half-empty cocktail in front of you. And you have been drinking. Mira made me, you murmured as if that excused it. He chuckled, the sound low and warm. First time, you nodded. I'm not very good at it. Then maybe I should keep an eye on you, he said, sliding into the seat beside you. The proximity made your pulse stutter. One more won't hurt. You weren't sure if it was the alcohol or the way his eyes lingered on you, but you agreed. The bartender returned with 2 new glasses, something bright, sweet-smelling. Jungkook glanced at his shrugged and down a sip. He didn't notice the man at the bar glaring toward the drinks, the one whose mischievous friend had apparently ordered something extra for him earlier in the night. Strong, Jungkook said, setting his glass down. You took a tentative sip of yours and immediately coughed. Oh God, no, too much. He smirked, lightweight. Your cheeks heated, not fair. You have probably been drinking since you were born. I have good tolerance, he admitted, finishing his glass easily, but you caught it, the slight pause before he shifted in his seat, the way he cleared his throat as if suddenly aware of something. You were too busy laughing at his mock lecture on proper drinking technique to notice the faint, restless edge creeping into his body language. The bass thumped. Your head swam pleasantly, and somehow the drink appeared between you. By the time you realized Mira wasn't coming back, you and Jungkook were leaning a little closer than necessary. Voices pitched low, the rest of the club fading into background noise. The cool night air hit your skin as Jungkook guided you out of the club, his hand hovering protectively at your lower back. Where's Mira? He asked once you were outside. She left with her boyfriend. You mumbled, your voice softened out, said, I'll be fine with you. He glanced at you, his jaw flexing. Of course you will. The valet brought his black curve around, sleek and dark under the streetlights. He opened the passenger door for you, waiting until you were seated before shutting it and circling to his side. The first few minutes of the drive were quiet. The hum of the engine, the faint sound of his cologne filling the space, but it wasn't the same silence as in class. You were leaning against the seat, eyes on the blurred city lights outside. When you felt his gaze flick toward you, you are quiet. I am thinking, you said, about. You hesitated. It's strange seeing you like this outside the lecture hall, not in a suit, not Professor John, he supplied, lips curving frankly. You met his eyes for a beat longer than you should have exactly. Something in that moment shifted, subtle but undeniable. The air in the car thickened, the space between you suddenly too small. He tapped his finger against the steering wheel. A quiet exhale leaving his lips. You are different tonight too, he said lowly. Your pulse thumped. Is that a bad thing? His gaze slid over your dress, lingering in a way that made you his skin heat, not even close. You swallow, breaking eye contact, but the damage was done. The line you'd both been towing all evening was gone when the traffic light ahead turned green. Jungkook's hand tightened slightly on the wheel. He didn't turn toward your street. This isn't. I know, he said, his voice calm but edged with something deeper. I'm taking you to mine. It's closer, and his eyes cut to yours briefly, intense under the soft streetlight glow. We both know neither of us is ready to say goodnight yet. The silence wasn't awkward anymore. It was charged, alive, as if the night itself was holding its breath. By the time he pulled into the underground parking of his apartment building, your hands were clammy, your stomach a knot of nerves, and when he killed the engine, he didn't move right away. He just looked at you, not like a professor, not like a stranger, but like a man who had finally decided to stop holding back.